Coastal ecosystems support over half of the world's species and 3/4 of the human population. Despite their appeal to us and wildlife, coastal ecosystems are being degraded and lost at a faster rate due to climate change. Acceleration in sea level rise will make the devastation we've seen from recent hurricanes even more catastrophic. When we lose the coastal habitats that defend us from natural disasters, we lose lives. So it is imperative that we devise effective management strategies for coastal ecosystems. But how do we know if those strategies are effective? By monitoring an indicator that reflects ecosystem health and response to ecosystem change, we can track the trajectory towards or away from desired conditions. In freshwater ecosystems, we use wading birds like this little blue heron as indicator for wetland restoration. Their ability to raise young depends on the availability of food, which is controlled by the wetland's water conditions. In saltwater ecosystems, however, this link between wading birds and their environment is poorly understood. My research investigates this link to see if wading birds can be indicators for coastal saltwater ecosystems. We know that the length of a bird's leg restricts it to feeding in shallow water. So in my lab, a computer model was recently developed to calculate how tides change the amount of shallow water across the coastal landscape. The product is a shallow water availability map shown for the Florida Keys in the top left. The dark red areas around the islands in black is where the water is shallow for the longest time. When combined with other environmental predictors, we can predict where birds are most likely to forage, and that's shown by the map in the middle. But you can see in the last map that these birds are strictly using areas with high shallow water availability. I'm testing the hypothesis that this habitat use pattern is driven by a greater abundance of food in these shallow water areas. Without question, sea level rise will reduce the spatial extent of shallow water and shrink wading bird habitat over time. But habitat loss also happens overnight. The eye of Hurricane Irma tore through these red areas and laid waste to habitats and homes throughout the lower Florida Keys. More coastal areas just like this will need to be protected and restored in the face of increasing threats. But by using wading birds as indicators for these at-risk ecosystems, we can monitor the long and short-term effects of disturbances like sea level rise or Category 5 hurricane and guide effective management strategies. So if we can keep our coastal ecosystems alive, we can keep over half of the world's species and 3/4 of our population alive too. Thank you.